Hey there, I'm Maz, and welcome to Maz Show. This is your space to explore big ideas through books, society, knowledge, and history, all with one goal to build a better world and a brighter future. If you are curious, reflective, and ready to grow, you're in the right place. So tap follow, hit subscribe, and let's get thinking.
You know that split-second judgment you made about someone this morning? Yeah, that one. Turns out your brain might have just played a trick on you. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of unconscious bias, how our minds create shortcuts that can lead us astray, what the latest research tells us about outsmarting these mental traps, and practical ways to make better decisions. By the end of this episode, you'll understand how to catch your brain in the act and actually do something about it.
And it's such a crucial topic because these biases affect literally every decision we make, from who we hire to how we interact with people on the street.
So, what exactly are we dealing with here? What's happening in our brains when these biases kick in?
Well, according to recent research, unconscious or hidden bias refers to attitudes and patterns of perception that we hold subconsciously. They're basically mental shortcuts our brains take to process information quickly.
Mental shortcuts? That doesn't sound so bad, right?
Well, here's the thing. These shortcuts can lead to assumptions that aren't always accurate. They can create unfair advantages or disadvantages without us even realizing it.
Can you give us an example of how this plays out in real life?
Here's a fascinating one. Did you know that among CEOs, about a third of them are over 6 feet 2 inches tall?
Wait, what? That doesn't seem right.
But it's true. According to research cited by Malcolm Gladwell, while only about 3.9% of adult men are that tall in the general population, roughly 33% of CEOs fall into this height category.
That's kind of mind-blowing. So we're unconsciously associating height with leadership ability?
Exactly. And a 2020 Chinese study found that each centimeter in height above average correlated with a 10% to 13% increase in annual earnings.
That really shows how these biases can have real-world consequences. Are there other examples that might surprise people?
Well, there was a particularly striking incident at a Starbucks in Philadelphia in 2018.
Oh yeah, I think I remember hearing about this.
2 black men were waiting for a business meeting and the manager asked them to leave. When they explained they were waiting for someone, the manager called the police, who then arrested them.
That's terrible. What happened after that?
Starbucks actually responded by conducting company-wide training to address implicit bias and promote conscious inclusion. But here's what's really interesting about bias. Recent research shows that bias mitigation strategies that work in one context don't necessarily work in others.
What do you mean by that?
Well, according to Stanford research, a bias mitigation strategy that works for financial decision-making might not work at all for hiring decisions. There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
So how do we even begin to tackle this?
The first step is actually pretty straightforward. We need to acknowledge that we all have these biases. No one is immune.
That's probably the hardest part for most people, right? Admitting we might have these biases?
Absolutely. But research shows that these biases can be changed. We just have to recognize them first.
Okay, so what are some practical steps people can take?
There's actually a helpful framework that spells out implicit. The first step is introspection, exploring and identifying your own prejudices.
And how do you do that?
One way is by taking implicit association tests. These are specially designed tools that can help reveal biases we might not be aware of.
What's the M stand for?
M is for mindfulness. Research shows we're more likely to give in to our biases when we're under pressure. So practicing stress reduction and mindfulness techniques can help.
That makes a lot of sense. What about the P?
P is for perspective taking, considering experiences from the point of view of the person being stereotyped.
And I'm guessing the L is about learning?
Yes, learning to slow down. Before interacting with people from certain groups, pause and reflect to reduce reflexive actions.
That seems really important, just taking that moment to check ourselves.
Exactly. The I stands for individuation, evaluating people based on their personal characteristics rather than group affiliations.
And C?
C is for check your messaging. Instead of saying things like, we don't see color, use statements that welcome and embrace differences.
That's really interesting. So acknowledging differences rather than pretending they don't exist?
Precisely. And the final T stands for take two, recognizing that resisting implicit bias is lifelong work. You have to constantly restart the process.
You mentioned emotional intelligence earlier. How does that play into all this?
Well, emotional intelligence is crucial because it helps us understand and manage our own emotions while recognizing and influencing the emotions of others.
And that helps with bias? How exactly?
Research shows that people with higher emotional intelligence are better at recognizing their own biases and more capable of changing them.
Is there a way to develop better emotional intelligence?
Yes, it involves developing self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, and social skills. These are all skills that can be learned and improved over time.
That's encouraging. But what about when we're in the moment and we catch ourselves having a biased thought?
That's actually a great moment. Catching yourself is the first step. The key is to pause and question where that thought came from.
And then what?
Try to replace it with a more objective thought. For example, if you catch yourself making assumptions about someone's abilities based on their age, consciously focus on their actual experience and skills instead.
That makes sense. But it probably takes practice, right?
Absolutely. It's like building any other habit. It takes time and consistent effort.
Are there any tools or resources people can use to help with this process?
Yes, besides the implicit association tests we mentioned earlier, there are various mindfulness apps and training programs specifically designed to help people recognize and overcome their biases.
And what about in professional settings? How can organizations address this?
Organizations can institutionalize fairness by supporting a culture of diversity and inclusion. This might include using an equity lens tool to identify blind spots.
That's interesting. Can you explain what an equity lens is?
It's a framework that helps organizations examine their practices and policies to ensure they're not inadvertently favoring certain groups over others.
And this actually works?
Research shows it can be effective when combined with other strategies, like diverse hiring practices and ongoing training.
So what's the key takeaway for our listeners?
The most important thing to remember is that having biases doesn't make you a bad person, it makes you human. What matters is what you do about them.
And it's an ongoing process, right?
Exactly. It's not about achieving perfection, it's about making a consistent effort to be more aware and make better decisions.
So when you step back from everything we've discussed today, what really matters is understanding that we all have these biases, but we also have the power to change them.
Right. And while it might feel overwhelming at first, even small changes in how we think and act can make a big difference over time.
Remember, your brain might play tricks on you, but now you know how to catch it in the act. Thanks for listening.
Show, let's go, open up your mind and grow. Facts and stories, things you never know. Every episode, we light the glow. Step into the world of Mass Show. Turn it up, let the rhythm flow. Feel the beat, take control. Don't be shy, just let it go. This is where the magic grows. Tune in now, it's the Mass Show. Lights up bright and minds will glow. Every day we learn and grow. Come along and join the flow. New ideas begin to shine. Breaking limits, crossing lines. Every moment feels divine. In the world of Mass Show time. Turn it up, let the rhythm flow. Feel the beat, take control. Don't be shy, just let it go. This is where the magic grows. Tune in now, it's the Mass Show. Lights are bright and minds will glow. Every day we learn and grow. Come along and join the flow.